Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and we have Mark Price to talk a little bit about shooting. There's a couple new things I've noticed recently with a lot of shooters in the NBA where they're actually turning their feet sort of 10 degrees to their left if they're righty, to maybe to get them to go in. Have you noticed that? Is this something that you propose? Is it like a thing that you sort of would suggest when you're teaching shooting?
I actually don't suggest that.
Really?
I try to get guys' feet. I typically call the feet the compass of the body, and I typically try to get them pointed toward their target. But I've noticed that as well. Seems like a lot of guys are turning the shoulder, trying to point their shoulder to the basket. That's not something I personally teach, but I guess some guys have been successful at it.
Now, there's also a thing they're calling, I think, the sway, where the feet will kick up and go forward when they land, almost bending at the waist. Is that something else you might suggest or not?
Well, I typically try to teach guys to try to go straight up, straight down as much as possible. I tend to think anytime you're moving, you're talking about a moving target now. But you do see a lot of guys jump forward on their shot, and some guys do well with it.
Now, we do a lot of retro breakdowns as well, where we take old games, like we did, Michael's 69-point game against Cleveland, and we use an example of how good shooting was back then. It really doesn't feel like we have the volume of shooters like we did when you played. Do you feel that way?
I agree, but I think a lot of times you're getting so many more younger players that are coming into the league that aren't what I call, fully developed by the time they hit the league. And I think that's why you're starting to see more kind of development coaches or shooting coaches in the league trying to help these guys speed up the process a little bit as they get into the league.
Can you improve a guy by the time he gets to the NBA? Is there hope for a lot of these guys?
There is. I've worked with a lot of guys over the years. It's, takes one. They have to be willing to work on it. The summertime is usually the best opportunity. It's hard to change things during the course of a season, but you can definitely improve if that's what you want to do.
Now, as I recall, your favorite shot was coming off of pin down, catching shot fake, and one dribble pull up. Was that correct? Was that your favorite shot?
Well, my favorite shot was anytime I had a shot. I like to shoot.
And your favorite offense was any offense to get you a shot, right?
Exactly. Off the dribble, catch and shoot, it didn't matter. I like to shoot.
Now, philosophically, as our last question, the way offenses are working now, do you feel like there's a lot of difference between now and then as far as like system stuff that you ran?
I don't think there's a lot of philosophy. I think the NBA game in particular comes down to post-ups, screens, and pick and roll, and I think it's pretty much you can do different looks on that, but for the most part, that's the NBA game.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm about the same size as Mark Price, which really kind of frightens me because I don't know how you got that shot off at your size. But thank you for coming on. Stay tuned for lots more coming up at B-Ball Breakdown. And don't forget, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in?
I'm in.